Joining us now on the Deseret First Credit Union hotline, speaking of brackets, a man who just released his latest bracketology earlier this week. He is the NCAA.com insider and college basketball expert, Andy Katz. Andy, great to have you back on BYU Sports Nation. How are you?
Thanks for having me, guys.
So we're looking at this big Monday showdown between BYU and Gonzaga now and wondering, okay, is it better for BYU that they have expedited this matchup and they're bringing Gonzaga in on the 8th compared to the 27th? Or is Gonzaga just so good that it doesn't really matter, Andy?
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. But I think it's better than not playing. And so I would say that because there'd be a bigger gap in the schedule. It's just bizarre right now that what's happened in the WCC, essentially half the league is on pause and half is playing. I'll tell you what I would do. If I were the leadership, I would basically say to the 5 on pause, whenever you come back, you guys play, you figure it out. But for the foreseeable future, for the next 2 weeks, which is what they're starting to do now, but I would continue it. The 5 that, certainly can play should just play each other.
That would certainly shake things up, and I think everyone's ready to just play whoever they need to play whenever they play. Everyone's pretty flexible, it seems like. BYU, has the San Diego game canceled on Tuesday, and then they just cancel the next game on the 13th because San Diego's paused. And frankly, it's a quad 4. We're sitting here going, BYU probably won in that. No risk of losing that game. It's not going to help you, and now you move up Gonzaga. So that probably helps BYU, right, to not have 2 quad 4s sitting there on the schedule?
Yeah, no, I think it does. Not having, to play the Toreros is probably good right now. You could argue, those are, wins that they should be able to get. But, I'll say this, their Pepperdine loss, I don't necessarily view that as a bad loss in the big picture, because I do actually think if you were to poll the coaches right now in the WCC, I think that you would find that Pepperdine could be viewed as the 3rd best team in the WCC at this moment in time. Yep. And I think ultimately that could be the case. Pepperdine could end up being the 3rd best team behind Gonzaga and BYU.
Andy, you've got BYU as a 10 seed in your latest bracket projection. We're also wondering, okay, other than beating Gonzaga, is there anything that BYU can do remaining on the schedule to bump them up a few spots on the seed line, or are they kind of locked into that spot if they beat everybody else and then lose to Gonzaga?
Yeah, I mean, they need some help. It would help them if Boise State, I think, wins the Mountain West. If San Diego State maybe finishes 2nd, those kinds of things would help them. Utah knocking off Colorado is positive. Any kind of, Utah State obviously being in the top 3, those schools continuing to win will ultimately help BYU's overall rating and profile. But short of beating Gonzaga, it's going to be hard to move dramatically up. But I still think that they have, the capabilities once they get in to win a game or 2. So, in this tournament, I don't think it necessarily will matter, whether or not, you're a 7, a 9, a 10, 11. I think it's going to be really hard, because there's 2 clearly great teams, Gonzaga and Baylor. And after that, there's another tier, and then sort of everyone's sort of in that other group.
Well, it felt like everybody that was ranked not named Gonzaga and Baylor lost last night, so that doubles down on your point.
Yeah, I mean, there was a carnage of ranked teams, on Wednesday night. St. Louis is a great example of that. There was a lot of buzz about St. Louis. They come out of pause. They're now 0-2 in the Atlantic 10. And I'll tell you right now, the Atlantic 10 is a 1-bid league. It's St. Bonaventure. The American is a 1-bid league right now. It's Houston. Will that hold? We'll see. But, BYU just has to take care of business. I would say try to beat everyone but Gonzaga. Obviously, if you beat Gonzaga, that's a whole other story. It's unfortunate because last year, and you guys know this, last year's Gonzaga-BYU game And I've been to the Marriott Center. I wish I was there that night. That had to have been one of the best nights we've seen in decades. The place was just absolutely rocking. And I can't even imagine what it would be like if there were 20,000, Cougar fans in that building for a number one undefeated Gonzaga, this team coming in. It's unfortunate it's not going to happen. And that obviously lessens the chance for an upset because I think it's good for at least 5 points. But still, there's hope. They obviously what they've got to do is because Gonzaga has had these slow starts in the first half in the league, but then they've got the second gear. And BYU is going to obviously, if they get any kind of lead, they got to try to step on the throat and just keep going. Because if you let Gonzaga back in, it's over.
Yeah, they're so good. They've been fun to watch. I'm actually a Gonzaga fan when they don't play BYU. They're great, and they've been great. It's been fun for BYU to be in the West Coast Conference and whatnot. I want to talk about the conference tournaments, Andy. So obviously in the NBA, they're talking about the All-Star Game. Is that a good idea or not? In a similar vein, obviously there's a lot going into that with TV contracts, auto bids, and whatnot. But there are these questions being brought up now of like, is it a good idea to have conference tournaments? Will certain teams opt out? What's the legality of that and whatnot? In preparation for March Madness, what are you hearing and what do you think about conference tournaments at this point?
Well, I'll be honest. I think the most intriguing one is the West Coast Conference. There's no question that, conference tournaments for bubble teams are a must. I think that we're going to see in the major league, the Power Five. I have no doubt Big Ten is going to happen in Indy, as they're saying. Because they're going to be in Indy and then you just stay. The Big 12's got their protocols in Kansas City. I fully expect the SEC to have their deal in Nashville. The ACC, assuming they settle in Greensboro or wherever, they'll have theirs. It's too much tradition. To me, the Pac-12 in Vegas, the Big East, do they stay in New York? Those are the outliers, not quite sure, but it's the WCC. What do they do if Gonzaga opts out? Do they still have the tournament? Does the selection committee still award an AQ? Because technically, the conferences decide who gets the AQ. You remember for years, the Ivy said it's our regular season champion. They didn't even have a tournament. You would need emergency legislation for the committee to make that decision. I don't know if they're prepared to do so in the short term. But, what would happen if Pacific were to win it and that bounced out BYU, or if that bounced out, a team like, Oklahoma State or something like that? How would that be viewed if a team like Pacific won the conference tournament without having to play Gonzaga, or Gonzaga not even being in it, or if Gonzaga and BYU chose to opt out? It'd be a little dicey. I think it would ruffle a lot of feathers in the league. I don't know. There's no easy answer here, but I can see both sides of this argument. But then also on the flip side, if you're Gonzaga, you end the season February 27th. Do you really want to go from February 27th to March 19th without playing a game? I understand the safety issue, but that's a long time if you want to win the national championship to go without playing a game.
He is at the heart of college basketball. NCAA.com's Andy Katz with us on BYU Sports Nation. Because BYU and Gonzaga have been pushed up to February 8th, and going along with the idea of, hey, the 5 teams that are in the clear just keep playing each other, would it benefit both Gonzaga and BYU to play a third regular season game?
Well, it would benefit BYU if they won it, that's for sure. Give them another crack. So that's one positive. But here's the deal. They need games, and depending upon the length of the pause, I would say yes to it if those other schools aren't back. If they're back, fine. But if we go into the week after and they're still not back yet, or they are saying, which I know Santa Clara did say, and Michigan's probably going to do the same thing in the Big Ten, which is, yes, we can come off pause on whatever day it is on a Monday, but Thursday's too soon for us to play because we haven't been doing anything. We need more practice time. That's what Santa Clara did. If you remember, I think a couple weeks ago, when they were supposed to play Gonzaga on a Thursday, weren't ready to do so because they just come off pause, so they didn't play that game, and then they played St. Mary's on the weekend and actually beat them. That could happen too, where these schools come off pause and say, you know what, we're not going to be ready to play until the following week. So now Gonzaga, BYU have a whole nother week of not playing games. Well, maybe that's when you play Pacific and Pepperdine and Portland again or something, but because you got to keep playing. You got to have the rhythm. And it's not fair to those 5 that are healthy right now to prevent them from playing games just to wait for the other 5 because we're just running out of days.
And then the NCAA tournament, speaking of running out of days, will be interesting because there'll be some teams that are finishing on the Saturday and some teams maybe still on the Sunday. Are they still doing that? And then the tourney starts that next week with the first 4 on Thursday and then a Saturday, Monday thing. There's a lot of criteria that needs to be met, including 7 negative tests and getting there on a certain day and trying to create a pseudo bubble. March Madness will certainly be different this year more than any other year. How do you see this playing out? And hopefully it works.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's the best scenario we can have. There's no way we can be flying all over the country in 13 different states. It has to be one county that has its protocols, and it's just going to be the best scenario. The 7 days negative before, I think, has ruffled some feathers across the country because how is that going to be administered, especially when schools are different places? Then they're traveling to Indy. There's a lot of fear, of course, if someone pops. Are there backup teams? Should players who are previously positive but are outside the 90-day window, which initially the CDC said, should they need to be retested? That's being debated still and might be up until we get there, because there's some thought that it should be 120, 150 days before you have to be retested. I think the curveball here are the new variants. I think if those weren't floating around, for lack of a better term, I think there might be more buy-in from the medical people to say, you know what, you've had it in the past, and a lot of these, student athletes have had it. We don't need to retest you. But I think because of the variants, now this is my non-medical opinion, just from talking to people, but I do think the variants have scared enough people to say, yes, retest. And then you're going to have some coaches, not a lot, but some who probably will have been vaccinated, by the time we get there. Should they be tested? That's going to be another issue that needs to be resolved. It's a shame that the timing doesn't work out to where that population, could be vaccinated before we play the tournament, but there's no way between now and March that's going to happen.
Andy, it's always great to patch into your expertise. We know just how busy you are, especially this time of year in this COVID era of college basketball. But we'll make sure that next time you cross paths with Mark Pope that he takes you out to lunch for your trouble.
Would love it. I can't wait till we can do stuff like that.
Thanks, Andy. Have a great one.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Andy Katz on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. Deseret First, you know why, we show how.
Always good to pick his brain. Obviously, he had spells in Albuquerque and I think Fresno, so he covered Mountain West games and WAC games even, I think, a little bit. So
he was in the Oval Office with the President of the United States doing brackets twice when he was with ESPN. Like, that guy is the guy for college basketball.
Trump ever do a bracket, or was it just Obama?
It was Obama.
Okay.
Obama's the basketball guy.
Yeah, he's the basketball guy. Coming